morning, everyone, and welcome to Talking Horses. He is Anthony Stabile, the Big A. I'm Andy Serlings. We get ready for a 9-race Saturday card as our holiday weekend continues. I want to say hi to one of our special viewers, actually her, Teresa Morrow, who's listening today. We hope that Teresa's listening and enjoys the show. We'll try to behave. We've been known to deteriorate as the show goes on. What's going on? Okay, I have a question.
The operative word there is try, correct?
Look, the best you can do in life is try.
Very good.
So I have a question. Fairgrounds, before we get started. We'll get into today's card pretty quickly. Who do you like in the Rachel Alexandra and the Risen Star?
So the Risen Star, I think, is a
You've got 45 seconds.
is a fun race.
Really? I thought it was a 2-horse race.
I picked Zandon.
Okay.
I like Zandon on the stretch out. The Rachel Alexandra is an even more interesting race. I'm hoping that Lacrite can take him flag faulted. That's all from the iron.
I will definitely book every cent you want to bet on that horse.
Okay.
I like the Grand Motion horse. The 5-horse?
Okay.
The horse that won Big at Park.
Divine
Somebody used that
Huntress?
horse with the horse Dreamlith, the horse inside of her. Those are the two I want.
4,
in that race.
5-4.
Don't
You like
the
Andy likes
California
5-4.
5-4. Okay. All right. Get that out of the way. I think it's Zandon and Smile Happy. I didn't have a strong opinion. I'm kind of rooting for Zandon, rooting for the Remsen horses, but don't have a big, strong opinion.
They're both going to have to do. They're going to test their pedigrees today a little bit, right?
Well, you know, I want to. Yeah. Well, Zandon did 1 and 8.
That was great.
Good. So I don't Smile Happy.
6 to 9.
Smile Happy doesn't seem to be an issue, but
be fun. Be a fun race.
I'm looking forward. I think Olympian has the edge over Miles D in that race. Got more speed. His last race was good, but that's a nice matchup in the mine shaft. I thought Silver Prospector was the long shot to try to get in there.
We have all of those races covered in blog form over at Naira Bets under the expert picks. There's a weekend stakes recap, and the must bet race of the week is the Risen Star.
So we didn't even need to ask you. We could have told people just to go to Naira Bets. And you know, if you want to check it out at Naira Bets, become a member of Naira Bets. By the way, our big TV's not working if anybody wants to help us somewhere. The big TV. We got other TVs working, so. And Anthony and my favorite episode actually, it's kind of new over there.
That's new.
Right?
Yeah.
It's a little disappointing. Anyhow, use the promo code.
They stole one of our riders for the promo now, too.
Yeah, well, you know how it goes. You know, if it's good, you copy it. Bonus 200. We will match with $200 of your initial deposit. If you want to join Naira Bets, we would like you to join Naira Bets. You should join Naira Bets. Keep the money in the game. Support racing in New York. Cross Country Big 5 today. Don't kill yourself and turn that TV on. Just, you know, if it's an easy thing to do, think of it as like the heater. Anyhow, our studio has been known to get kind of chilly on certain days. Chillier for me than Anthony. Cross Country Pick 5, we got the 2 stakes at Tampa. We'll be showing those on America's Day at the Races. Aqueduct 8th race, the Holly Hughes, and the 8th and 9th at Oaklawn. Dixie Bellcamp, a good race. A couple of scratches of Brad Cox horse in there, but we do have the winners of the stakes from last year in New York, the Astoria, the Schuylerville, and the Adirondack. The Oaklawn 8th race was changed a lot because they scratched the heavy favorite
Warriors
there.
Charge came out. So did Horse for the Course, Intrepid Heart.
Well, the horse that really came out is Warriors Charge. And that's the horse that changed it. Anyhow, what else do we have? We have a stakes bonus. Do you know what the stakes races are?
Yes,
you get $5 for everyone you bet 50 or more dollars.
They are the Dixie Belle. They are the Eldorado Shooter from Golden Gate, and the action from Laurel today. They got a bunch of stakes down at Laurel.
Oh yeah, the Barbara Fritchie and the General
George. Yeah.
Looks like Charlie Baker's got a good shot down there with
Glass Sailing.
There you go. And also we got America's Day at the Races, 1 to 6:30. You're on early, right?
Maggie and I will be handling the Maggie Mig, all the M's, M&M. Me, Maggie Mig early.
All right. Let's get to work. Race number 1, the first of 2 divisions of this group. Where'd you go in here?
I went to the number 7, Boom Roasted. That's the second or third time Flattery's music's come out.
Yeah, second time.
Second time.
At least the second time in a week.
Yeah.
Could be a third, but definitely a second time. Yeah, for sure.
I went to Boom Roasted. Kind of improved on the fast track with the blinkers, lace. It got the whole kitchen sink last time out. And I don't know. I wanted to pick against Flattery's music. I would imagine now with.
I thought you picked Flattery's music.
No, I didn't. I picked Flattery's music second. With Flattery's music out, Boom Roasted is going to be a big favorite. I would imagine Flattery's music would have been the favorite, and now Boom Roasted will probably be a big favorite, and kind of loses a little bit of its luster.
In my opinion, if you like Boom Roasted, you're supposed to love Eudaimonia in here. We'll take a look at the start of the time that they met when Boom Roasted finished just ahead of Eudaimonia. And you're going to see that Una May is getting forced over there early and bounced into some other horses. You can see her bouncing into horses. And as we show the pan of the race, it's the one who's in the black and green and is the number 8, while the number 9 is Boom Roasted. And Boom Roasted sort of gets that very good forward position, whereas Unimania, because the result of the situation early in there, drops well back and farther back than I think that she normally would if you look at her prior race. Much like Boom Roasted, didn't handle that sealed track in the next start. And the more I think about it, and they hit the wire together, the more I think about it, I don't think it's a wet track situation with horses. You think about yesterday's race and yesterday's fair track. I don't think it's a moisture thing ever. I think it's sealed versus open.
Okay.
I think it's these sealed tracks that a lot of horses have trouble handling. And because you don't see the same kind of horrible performance when you see good or muddy but harrowed. But when you see those sloppy and muddy and even good sealed tracks, that's when you see horses that just sort of flailing about out there, losing by 30 lengths. And I think in those situations, to me, it's cut and dry. If you're looking at the 2 and 7, you're supposed to like the 2. You obviously completely disagree, which is fine. You're also getting Gomez for Mena, which I think is a very substantial switch. So in my opinion, the 2 is a much, much better play. I mean, the question becomes, do you want any others? If you haven't picked a Jimmy Ryerson first-time star, the horse will probably win, though you do have it second. They only win when you don't like them.
He won back-to-back days without me.
Yeah, I've got the Mike Maker first-time star for what it's worth with first-time stars, maiden claimers, and dirt sprints. He's 5 for 17, 211 ROI, so he does sometimes win with them. He's 1 for 5 in New York, 1 winning at Saratoga. I have Kiss Me Smile second. There's a little bit of pedigree on that one. And Carrot Suspended is a half 2, one of your favorite horses.
Who?
I mean, a horse that you, every time he runs, you get all teared up. Blew it.
You know, the Marias
That's
get me
embarrassing.
The Marias get me confused. The Marias get me confused. That's Rapoli's fault, not mine.
Rapoli's fault.
Blue.
Mike Rapoli's fault that Anthony didn't know that the
I only
6
like
Credit
Blue- I
Suspended
only
is
like
after
Blue It
Blue
on. I only like Blue
Not
It on
actually,
Loose Speed.
not is a half because Blue It is an Uncle Mo. Anyhow,
Blue It
you
is
like
an
the
Uncle
7,
Mo.
I like the 2. We'll
Yes.
see what happens in race number
Like's
1.
a strong word, by the way. for the
Speaking
first
of, yes, there's a lot of that going around today. Ed.
I picked the number 7.
The first of 2 divisions of these fine equine $16,000 non-winners of 2 in the second race.
That was very nicely put. The first of 2 divisions.
Yes, we will move on to race number 2, and I
Otherwise known
think
as a
you
split.
and I are the same thing here in that Uno, and we'll look at Uno's first race, and this just shows how tough the game is. You got a horse that breaks its maiden first time out, or his maiden for Todd Pletcher, big win, looks like a good horse, doesn't run badly in a stake the next time when overbet, and then just completely falls apart. The problem with this horse, Anth, is his race at Belmont in October, I mean, you'd like to see him do a little running at some point in the race. My God.
Aluminum pair comes off.
No.
No, you don't care about that.
Well, I do. I think it's actually a negative. I think it's please claim me. In case you're worried, please claim me.
Yeah. He always takes money. He's going to take money again. He's going to.
He's the
In all
favorite by
likelihood,
default.
in all likelihood, he's going to be favored. again.
I actually oddly think he should be favored. I just don't want to pick him on top. I mean,
Believe me, it pained me
it's painful to pick this race. Painful.
to pick Maddie's Marauder on top with all those with the 4 third-place finishes, and the
So I
fact of
picked
the
a
matter
more
is,
indefensible horse,
he has 2 or 3 races that make him.
One of the players. The
Yeah.
point about the race is that in this sort of case, you handicap the race without Uno. And I think in our case, we were happy to put him second. Horse we're going to use, but we didn't
That's
want to pick him on
exactly
top.
what I did. Yeah.
And yesterday's card was a very, very good example. If you're going to use a race in a handicapping class, excellent. No, we had it. You were there. You were there. I mean, you're almost, there you go. You're almost forgiven for the heater. Anyhow, it's a lot going on here. Yesterday's seventh race, the second to last race, was a real primer in biases because you had the 2 horses, the 2 and 8, that were 2 of the 3 choices that came out of huge wins on big biases, and they're automatic bet againsts. And there were a number of horses throughout the day, and the vast, vast majority of these horses coming off of bias-aided trips are getting blown out, and they're just good bet against. Having said that, I don't have anything to say about that, particularly in this race. I wish I did. I'll say that I I mean, I guess the 5 is a chance. Okay, here's my story on Black Irish. My story, I'm sticking with it. I love horses off the claim, off single-digit buyers. Kidding. There isn't really any speed in this race. Now, Uno may be the speed. Who knows if Uno can run? And Black Irish is going to be forward in here. You got Jackie Davis. I assume Jackie's still riding this horse after what she did to me yesterday. Jackie, I haven't forgiven you for what you did to me yesterday.
You have every right to be angry at
I'm
Jackie
very annoyed
after
at you, Jackie.
yesterday.
You and I would have won together yesterday, and I'm holding you to it. I don't know. I just thought this horse could be forward. He's got some race that give him a shot. He's off he's off a claim. Anthony, I'm just grasping at straws. And I took a horse that'll be a big price. That'll be forward in a race.
I ain't biting to knock this horse. I'm not knocking it. I'm not
You can't knock
knocking
anybody in here.
No.
I mean, I believe, and by the way, I'm not anybody that wants to say to me, good luck with Black Irish. It's a horse that can be forward in a race where nobody else really does anything for me. I mean, they're all so flawed. They're all badly flawed. At least in the case of your horse, he's not flawed. He is who he is.
Here's who he. Right.
He's
Here's
1
who
for
he is.
16.
The
but
problem is in these types of races, more often than not, when they are what they are, they don't win.
No,
but I didn't know what else. I didn't really know what else to do. I couldn't get creative. Yeah, I thought about Moline a little bit, but I don't like betting the horses off of Todd Pletcher that comes off the voided claim, dropping in again. Like can he win? Yeah, he can win. And talk about a horse. The blinkers go on. He could be forward in here too. I know he's coming into the mile races. He could be forward in here too if Trevor's aggressive, but. I don't want the horses off of Todd Pletcher, and I don't want horses off voided claims in fields like this.
I decided ultimately I'll find a horse that's a price that I can make a little bit of a case for. Yeah. I'm not, So, a little surprised you end up with the same horse as me in the next race, and we'll get to that horse eventually, but we'll start the conversation with cost basis. Cost basis is the horse to beat in here. There's really no pace. He's the speed. He's in good form. I mean, it's not the drafted. This is the drafted that I bet on every time that ran second, not the drafted that won a stake by 20 lengths here the other day.
Not the drafted who ran like a Rossi the other day.
But drafted ran very well in this race. It was an absolute no-pace race, and he made a huge run from behind. The thing about cost basis is he's loose. He's way the horse to beat. The barn that does well has been firing on all cylinders. If they can get primacy to win 2 straight races, and that was a very good ride by Eric yesterday.
Excellent ride.
He was very lucky. Vargas, who I do like, did not give the second horse a very good ride, and I'm sure he wasn't happy with himself afterwards.
Eric gave
that horse
a
trip.
fantastic
2 times in a row
ride
he gave that horse a good ride.
Yes, he did.
He should ride as well for everybody as he rides for Chad Brown, frankly, and he'd be one of the leading riders all the time. I don't know, Anthony. I just didn't want to take this horse at 3 to 5, but he's the horse to beat.
He's the horse to beat. I mean, talk about having everything go your way last time. And I think that's my biggest problem.
But it may go his way this time.
It might.
That's the problem.
I would imagine, though, Smooth B almost has to put some pressure on him.
With that aggressive Jose
go.
Lozcano?
Listen,
the problem is...
if you don't try and put this horse on the lead in here...
The problem is, so he goes. And cost basis sits outside of him, and they're not going fast.
Yeah, listen, I get it.
Even if he goes the lead, he's not going to lead in 22 and 45.
No.
He's going to lead in 23 and change and 47. So it's not like going is going to make the pace faster.
No, not necessarily. And that's all.
And cost basis can stalk and win. He doesn't need to be loose.
I'm hoping the way this race plays out, it kind of pulls Big Engine into the race.
Well, see, I don't think Big Engine's that slow. Why can't he be reasonably close?
He could.
So why do you like him?
Why do you like him? So with Trevor from the rail, I was hoping he was going to be a little more forward.
That was why you liked him.
It certainly looks like...
He was forward last time.
Yeah, he was. And I think Rudy, who won the race with What Do You Think Now, who's going to be favored in Holly Hughes later on today.
He's going to lose, too.
In all likelihood. We'll talk about that later.
Thank you.
This horse was against the track last time.
He was against the track last time. He was 3-4 wide.
Yeah, and, off the layoff, certainly looked like Rudy may have put him in there to make sure the race went for What Do You Think Now, and he gets a nice little blow into him against the track, closer. And listen, the cost basis may win back-to-back races. He is going to do it without me at 3 to 5.
No, he's the horse to beat.
Do you want to answer in?
Okay, well,
I don't know if you want to answer in.
Let me talk about Big Engine for a moment. I have a very strong opinion on Big Engine, and he was wide against the track, and that's one of the reasons I took him. Big Engine's a rail runner. I think if you look at the races where Big Engine has been most effective, it's been when he's allowed to run inside of horses. And by drawing the rail today, it's putting him in his comfort zone. And I believe that that's a major factor for him. I mean, listen, he should have beaten My Boy Tate in the Holly Hughes last year. That was a poor ride by Eric Cancel. If Chad Brown had trained him, he would have given him a good ride. That was when he came off the rail, when the rail was gold, and
Yes,
he went
I
outside
remember.
horses.
I
And he's a
remember.
rail runner.
I was in the booth. I think I was in the booth for that
Look
one.
at this horse's race. You were, because we played the race on TV yesterday.
Yep.
If you look at it, reminded me of the ride. That's how I remember it, actually. If you look at this horse, his best days have been when he's been inside. Answer In. Say his last race. I know that Zoomer came back to win. I know that More Grateful came back to win. See, to me, this is one of these races where people are going to say it's a key race, and I'm going to say baloney.
He was so fortunate to win this race.
Zoomer won a phony race
Yep.
where the favorite collapsed inside, and it was a 5-horse field that was really a 1.5-horse race. And More Grateful, who's fine, but he also got completely loose on a big speed track. And the reality is, he actually ran the best race in here. He was the one that fought it out in the front end with a whole bunch of horses you're seeing falling by the wayside. So I'm not saying Answer In can't win, and yeah, he's claimed by Robbie
He
Falcone.
was fortunate. He got a perfect setup last time. He just got the job done.
I'm not a fan.
I'm not either.
And the other thing is,
I'm not either.
Big Engine may not be dramatically compromised by the pace, whereas he figures to be far more
No
compromised
question
by
about
the
it.
pace.
He does not have anywhere near the speed's the wrong word, but he's nowhere near as tactical as Big Engine is.
Race number four is one of the more, at least on paper and theoretically, likely races. And to my friend David Aragona, good luck getting 9 to 5 on Oh My Bell in this race. She'll be odds on in here.
Has to be 3 to 5, 4 to 3
Yeah,
to 5, 4 to 5, right?
she'll be a very short price. I mean, she was odds on in her first start, and we'll show the race. I mean, you know, it's one thing to break a little slowly. It's another thing to break 4 to 5 lengths behind the field.
This is blowing the
I mean,
break.
this is right. This isn't one of these horses that breaks a length behind the field and drops back. This horse didn't come out of the gate. Now, to be fair, you have to have a little bit of worry that the horse is going to do it again. You can never be fully confident. But she came up a good rail, angled out in the stretch, but she angles out of the turn here, and the rail was good. This was a bad race she comes out of, but I don't know, Anthony, if you disagree with me, but this race today doesn't look like it's too strong.
That was the inside information distaff compared to this.
This is,
field.
by the way, this is the second division, the stronger division of today's first race. I mean, I don't know. If she
Here's where
breaks,
the corner-
she's
if she
supposed
breaks,
to
she's gonna
win.
win.
They liked her. She made that
She
run.
breaks, she
It's
was 4 to
Gargan.
5.
And, you know, the other thing, I don't know about you, Anthony, after sort of going through this entire card, going back and making picks and races, I was just relieved to have a race where I said, I know this horse is going to be a short race, but I can pick this horse on top. I mean, it's a cop-out
For those
pick.
of you keeping stats out there, I would assume we're both going to have a winner after the 4th race.
I don't know
today.
if we're going to have a winner or not. I don't ever assume things like that. I just know this is a race where if there's somebody else in there to pick, I don't know who it is. I mean,
luck.
you've got Classic Vinman second, who is a little interesting. And this horse bolted last time out around the turn, but before bolting, the horse wasn't out running you and I in a horse suit.
This is what I'm trying to say. Like,
I got Mrs. Banks. I got Mrs. Banks second.
Yeah.
You know, comes out of better races. So I've got the horse second. And you've got Dini's Destiny on the outside. David's got this horse 3 to 1. I don't know. They're going to jump on Linda, whose barn is cold from a dam that was a big turf sprinter, and the horses she's produced have been terrible.
Awful. Awful.
I don't know.
Awful. Yeah, I don't. I put the Linda first to third just by default.
I hear you.
Classic Vinman gets the
love Bobby's
Lasix
Destiny.
and has the long break and ran out of the Sue Ellen Michigan. So I had wanted to try to put some sort of a price in the mix in here. 8 to 1. Of course, we'll
You know,
probably
I'm
take some
not
money,
buying
so.
that line that he couldn't use Sue Ellen Mischke as the name. You know, watch Seinfeld. That's what Al Gold was claiming. We interviewed him.
Maybe
Saying it's a
shot down.
name from a show.
Yeah.
But there are horses with names of characters from TV. You pull it up with Game of Thrones all the time.
Right, but there's never. It's very rare that it's a straight character. It's usually.
That's why it's very rare. If it happens once, it's the same.
It's. I don't. I like.
You
I'm
mean
trying
to
to
say
think
you
if
can't
it's
name a horse Kramer?
Kramer would be fine.
Well, then why can't
I know
you name
somebody
Sue
with the
Ellen
last
Mischke?
name Kramer.
I
don't know.
I'm not buying it.
All right.
There's something funny here.
What do you
I'm
think?
not-
So you think he's trying to pull a Fugazi? on
No, I'm not blaming Al.
Oh.
I don't understand how I don't understand it. No, I'm sure Al wanted to give the right name to the horse, but no, I didn't mean it that way. I mean, I don't know. It seems like rules are funny in racing, as you may have noticed over your years at the racetrack.
I have.
So back to races that are impossible. Let's go to race number 5 on today's card. Anthony,
Hi, Andy.
We're on completely. Well, you got the same horse type, second and third one too. I don't know. Here's my problem with your horse. What happened to this horse last time?
Awful.
This horse was awful last time.
Absolutely awful. First intended dirt race. Did run against a runaway winner, who was beaten by a runaway winner in her last start.
You love throwing that song in here? You don't have the 8 in your top 4,
no, I don't want
and you've got this horse. You've got this horse on top.
Blinkers, Lasix, a little bit of a kitchen sink here. Listen.
What do you think the stats are in those? I'm going to say they're very, very low.
Very low.
And they're desperation moves. I mean, first time Lasix, I guess, but I don't know. Listen, I've got the horse third. I feel like this horse is going to be favored by default.
I didn't want Linda Firster, who I put second. I mean, her numbers with the Firsters are back down again.
This horse's workout was
run.
okay, 10 and a fifth in the sale. This horse sold for a lot of money considering the pedigree. I will say that.
I put the Bond first to fourth, but his first has hardly ever run.
This horse is the Dam produced 2 horses that ran the turf.
Turf horses,
And also
Zero.
the Dam herself, I think, only ran in routes. So I'm not confident that horse can run, but the Bond horses are live a lot. And Trevor being on is probably not a bad sign. Listen, Kisses for Emily can win.
Yeah.
Horse broke a length and a half slow, but was on the gold rail last time. So as far as Celine the Queen, switching over to Paz de Rudy, horse they loved first time. This horse obviously has some issues with stamina, to say the least. Whether it's a breathing issue or something, I don't know. But it feels like with Gomez, you're just supposed to go. And maybe this horse is finally in a race where she can control a little on the front end.
I'll tell you what.
And if she gets clear, I'll take my chance with her. But I have no confidence.
You know when you always talk about you and I in a horse suit? I took a good look at her last time she ran. You and I in a horse suit might be bigger than her.
She's this big. No, I noticed it. She's this
I've
big.
never seen.
She's tiny.
I don't know if I've ever seen a horse.
That's why I'm hoping she
run.
gets clear and gets loose.
Yeah.
And by the way, not.
And it's me off.
What
so
am I supposed
you might
to
have
pick in
I
here?
picked her first 2 times, so you might be all right there.
If Kisses for Emily hadn't come up the rail last time,
Right.
I'd have liked her. And she is a horse that got bet very strongly in her debut. Cindy's Choice.
She took money for a barn that doesn't often take money, and she didn't. But she's run okay. Kisses for Emily ran okay enough in 2 of her last 3 starts, where in a field like this, you can make a little bit of a case.
Oh,
for
I'm
her.
not knocking anybody here.
Yeah.
You're free to take anybody you want in
Yep.
this race.
This is a doozy.
Yeah, this one is a slippery eel. Race number 6 and the late pick 4 after a quick break.
No sport in the world brings the wins home like racing. It's one-of-a-kind, high-speed, high-stakes action, and Naira Bets takes you there. Place your bets and watch the races live from anywhere. With Naira Bets, make easy, secure deposits and promotions every day to earn reward points or cash. Download the Naira Bets app or visit nairabets.com.
Welcome back to Talking Horses. He is the Big A Anthony Stabile. I'm not. Race number 6. We agreed in race number 6. I was surprised with that. We'll take a look at Ghostmon winning 2 back. Why do you like Ghostmon?
I would imagine that you and I had. There were 2 options in here. You were gonna.
Well, there were lots of options of bad horses to pick.
Yeah, I felt like there were 2 options in here to suck it up and take Breaking
No,
Stones.
I've got
or
about
just
7 options here.
Take this horse. This was a fresh gelding day. Getting the job done.
Beating Boom Boom Kaboom.
Beating Boom Boom Kaboom.
You like him in here? He was the favorite the other day.
You're getting the rider switch to Manny Franco. I want this horse to be, this horse was a lot more forward when he won
I'm going to tell you why I like him.
than last time. And I'm just hoping that Manny gets him in the, and he should be able to get him in the game.
No, he won't get him in the game. I'll tell you why I like him. I like him. The reason I believe that you can pick him in this race is his race 2 back we looked at is fast enough, even though he beat a bad field, to be a contender. And his last race, as you say, I don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
He broke a step slow, and he ended up 100 lengths behind the
Oblivion.
field. And not only that, he planted him down the rail. Was he a little off the rail? Yeah, you could definitely fit a muskrat through between him and the rail. But this horse ostensibly spent most of the race in the rail, got off a little bit in the stretch, but the rail was a bad place to be, and I just don't understand what was going on in that race. Maybe he didn't like the sealed track, and that's certainly a possibility. I'm going to give him another shot because you look through this race, you say, yeah, Scorpion Dynasty, all right, but what running did he do in that race?
None.
He had an easier trip. He was off the rail on the bad rail. Majestic Tiger off the Chris Engelhard claim, okay. Chris' numbers off the claim in Naira are bad. He's 10 for 88, $1.07 ROI, and claims in the dirt. And honestly, the race he won was a terrible
Can you
race.
imagine
He
he
had a
was
perfect setup.
even money off that race last time?
Incredible that he was. Incredible. I mean, he's
Even
just not a
money.
good horse. He's a bad turf horse on the wrong surface. I'm not saying he can't win. War of Thrones a little tough to make. And I'll tell you something about breaking stones. That race didn't fall apart last time. He fell apart. And the more you look at it, and I think this is something you should remember because you told me Profusion couldn't lose. That 84 that Profusion ran in his prior race, he was scratched the other day, is about as phony a fig as you'll ever see. I mean, just look at this horse. He's at best a 60 buyer horse, and he suddenly ran with a tougher trip. 10 points better? Baloney.
Right. Well, right. And
Can he win? Sure. But
the other, I think if you like him today, you have to hope that the cutback is going to help him. Right? I know he broke his maiden going a mile, but I mean that was a hungry bunch, and he was tiring late. I would imagine that the cutback is going to help him.
7 furlongs
But let me
last
ask you a
time.
question. You won him at 8-5, hoping the cutback's
he
going to help
lost
him?
to Scotty in speed
I know,
effect.
that's what I'm trying to say. So you have.
I don't care
a
about
race
the distance with
this,
him.
I was talking to somebody the other day about handicap. Somebody who just got in the game. I said, the worst thing you could do is to go into a race looking to beat the favorite. If you handicap the race and you find a way to beat the favorite, that's great. You think you did. The worst thing you can do is to look. This is the kind of race where when you find that this horse is the favorite, I'm not saying you go to look to beat him, but you certainly feel
you always want to
confident.
look for reasons
You
to
always
beat
want to look for
the
reasons, but you
favorite, so
certainly
I'm
feel
not sure what you're
confident
saying.
trying to take a swing around this horse.
Scorpion Dynasty, by the way, the reason I have him in there is it's a big rider switch from who's been riding this horse recently. It's a big switch to Trevor.
Trevor broke his maiden, too.
Halpert's ridiculous. I know he's dropping, but he's got no speed, and he's just not.
He's the second choice, Andy, on the
I
morning
know,
line.
and he's awful. He got bet last time. You liked him
I
last
liked him
time. I
last
couldn't
time.
figure it out. Why?
He
And,
ran two
and
steps.
everybody was betting him. I said, maybe Anthony's onto
He was
something, and he
awful.
was awful.
Awful.
He was off the rail. He was terrible. A litter box, okay, he's got some races, but that's the thing is his recent races aren't particularly fast.
Last
He's
4
not
races are
impossible,
terrible.
but
What's that going to get him in here? Nothing.
I don't agree. I don't disagree. So
Gets
why
him
land the
nothing.
7? Not a horse I'm thrilled with. So race number 7, Dark Money is way
Good
the
old
horse to
Dark
beat.
Money.
And I think in Dark Money you have to decide whether you like him. Why are you going to beat him with Cecilia Mike today?
I'm just hoping the extra furlong gets Cecilia Mike on a more fair track. And I listen.
All right, let's watch Cecilia Mike since we said it. Don't talk.
Yeah, look at him on the inside.
No, he's going to get stopped in here.
He just did.
He's going to get stopped. The problem with Cecilia Mike is he's just not very good, and there's less pace in this race than there was last time.
Yeah, but at least last time he was completely against the racetrack.
No, he wasn't. He was down inside for most of the racetrack, and this was an inside track.
Yeah,
And also, the track changed a bit later, and I don't really think it was carrying speed as
they
much.
went speed 1-2 around the track. The second one, the
They
stalker got him.
They did, but that doesn't mean the track carried him.
I'm just hoping
There's a track that changed during the day.
extra. Listen, I didn't want to take Dark Money at this price based off that last. I mean, Dark Money has 2 races on his card.
He's unreliable.
I don't want him at 3-5, and I just took Cecilia Mike extra furlong, hoping that he can come running late.
Yeah, see, I think less distance is better for Cecilia Mike. One of the reasons I liked him last time was that his best races have come at 6. He's really a horse that doesn't have a big burst, and I think the farther he goes, the worse. Not impossible. I'll throw him in. Dark Money's the worst to beat. The horse that I don't get that may end up sort of the second choice by default, not for the life of me, I'll never be able to figure out how he was 3-1 last time and not 33-1. Here's his race 2 back to Whistling Birds, okay? Yeah, this race gives him a chance, but what other races has he ever run that make you
I
particularly
liked this
interested?
horse last time. He didn't run 2 steps.
Yeah, it was a
I
bad
bet this
pick.
horse last time. He was awful.
Pick.
Awful.
I have no idea why anybody liked him last time.
Awful.
He ran in an aberrant race, the Whistling Birds race, to be honest with you. And he did run well in here. But this was a race where the speeds ran 1-2. And the problem is this race even good enough to win? I guess it's good enough to win if Dark Money doesn't show up.
I'm going to say it one more time. He was awful last time.
Yeah, but he was also against horses that are
He was, but
many
Andy,
lengths
he
better
didn't
than
run. He
these.
didn't run 2 steps.
No, I don't.
He didn't run 2 steps.
Most of his races, he doesn't run
Yeah,
2 steps. That's
right.
the problem. He's
That's
got
the
that
problem.
one wet track race. So as far as Vintage Hollywood, I struggled with this race because I looked at it and I said, I'm not picking Bad Guy as a heavy favorite. Not Bad Guy. Dark Money is a heavy favorite and he's an entry. Not that Bad Guy's impossible. He's not impossible. He's not reliable. He's the worst to beat. I don't want to pick him on top. So who am I going to go with? I thought about Celia Mike, and I said, I'm just going to go back to him because I liked him last time. I don't like more distance, and this race doesn't particularly set up for him. I started looking at Vintage Hollywood. Vintage Hollywood last time just completely lost interest in the middle of the race, and he dropped back like he was going to lose by 20. And then he actually had horse again in the stretch. So that was a little weird. And you don't have to go that far back for him to be an 82 buyer, sloppy track or not, but a 77 buyer in a fast track where he's running against better horses, running better. There's no doubt that there's a real question of whether or not his form exists anymore. But he drops down again. There's a whole lot of horses near I don't like at all. And I got sort of left with him. The Big Mountain Scratch definitely changes this race, takes a lot of the speed out. That helps Dark Money. You still have the 7 in there, Miss Alpha, who I don't know what Eric was doing with him last time, but you'd have to think that Hernandez will be more aggressive with him. He is a forward horse.
I mean, I think at some point too, you can question if he's just a wet track horse. I mean, his wet track races are.
But he has speed on dry track.
Yeah, I guess.
He didn't even have. He was nowhere to lead last time.
No, he was nowhere to be found.
There was no attempt whatsoever made to be forward. He was 3 wide against a good rail in that race. I don't know. So I think Vintage Hollywood has the races going back, and if he can get back them a little bit in the drop down, I thought he has a chance. But Dark Money will probably win 3 to 5 anyway. 3 to 5 is the long price when you look at tomorrow's early double. Race number 8, the Holly Hughes. I will say one thing. We have a lot of races that look like they're pretty logical and weird horses have won. And this is a meet where there have been a lot of weird results. If the 2 or 4 don't win this 8th race, then I just don't know who you're going to take in here. And here's what do you think now. See, what do you think now for me? Here's his last race is an automatic bet against. He rode a gold rail that jacked up his buyer figure 10 to 12 points from what he normally runs. It completely dressed him up. Having said that, he's still the controlling speed, and his other races are good enough to win. But he's dressed up off his last race and will be overbet because of it.
Yeah, he's obviously dressed up, but you know he's a little bit of a pet of mine, and I think he's finally found the right setup and the right stakes. Obviously, the last time he was in the Morrissey, something was amiss, the wet track, whatever it was. He went wrong, and he's come back. And you know, I like the fact that off of that race, off of the worst race of his career, he's come back and run arguably 3 of the better races, if not the best races of his career.
2 of them, though, he rode an extreme bias.
He did.
That's the problem. So the 2 fastest figs that he's ever run were both with the benefit of an extreme bias. Unless this track changes precipitously from yesterday, he'll be on a very fair racetrack. So I'm going to say he's a little bit dressed up. I hear you. He's the speed. I just think My Boy Tate, and here's his last race, I just think he's a better horse. And he's a horse that's won races that were a little bit pace compromised. He's not that slow, man. He can get him into the game. And I just feel confident he's the better horse, and he's going to be a bigger price. He's run too many races that are significantly
they'll be the
better.
same price, right? You think he'll be the bigger price? You really think so?
100%. He's loose speed, and he's got 104 buyer in his last start. I'll be very surprised if the 2 is an odds on. This horse is in 7 to 5. It's not going to be 5 to 1.
I think a lot of people are thinking the way you're thinking, and that so far.
We can bet a lunch on this,
you
know. I'll bet you that he is. Let me see. Hang on. At least 30 cents to a 30 cents a dollar could be a push. 30 cents to a dollar could be a push.
I'll take that.
To a dollar.
I like that.
Okay.
Do it for lunch. I like that.
I think we're 98.
Yep. 98 is correct. I
One
like
or-
that bet.
one or 2.
That's the exact number I had in mind. 30 cents is a push.
So 30 cents push.
40 cents or more is you, less is me. And I get if he's favored over him, obviously.
Yes, that would mean that he's. You want me to do the math?
I think it's. I really think
Okay.
people are going to think what you're thinking.
I don't. But okay, you could be right. I don't know. I mean, I'm not going to die on this hill.
Right.
You
One
know.
horse has won 11 times. One horse has run 13.
I mean, the other horses just aren't in the same
Yeah,
galaxy.
it's amazing.
Gemography. I think Gemography is going to run okay today. I'm going to go 2-4 with 2-4 with 3. That's my play.
Okay.
I'm getting Gemography. I'm smashing that try.
Well, that's the right move, right? Because you'd have to imagine that South Africa and Running with Scissors have to do some running early, going after. What do you think now?
They couldn't. They better be in an
Well, yeah,
all-out.
well,
they
I
better
mean,
be in an
run-
all-out
run-
drive if they're going to run with him.
You know what? Here, I'm going to give it to you.
can't
Tim.
run
Here's the
with
thing. Running with Scissors, they've put him in full out.
Do
He
you
put him in a
think
full out
when-
drive
let
last
me
time
ask
and
you
he
a
won.
question. When you say, here's the thing, do you feel that you are running with scissors? Here's the thing. It's kind of
the origins
an
of that
joke.
The origins
a
of that
long-in
does
joke.
make you feel that way.
Nobody
yes.
says it better than Jason. Nobody says it funnier than Jason. Anyhow, race number 9. Okay, I got an opinion in race number 9. Shockingly, 'cause I'm so devoid of opinions. My opinion in race number 9 at least coincides with you. He can win, but man, I ain't picking Sabrine on top. I got a Steve Asmussen stat that's actually kind of interesting. New York breds going maiden special weight to maiden claimer on the dirt. He's 1 for 11 with 40 on the board. Every single one of them was like 2 to 1 or so or less. They're all short prices. I got to tell you something. This horse may win this race, but his form is coming back. His form stinks. I mean, his horse, I know it was a little bit against the track last time, and they were better horses. So his race 2 back was not good. Since coming, his horse ready to...
I bet him 2 back. I remember betting.
I used him with Candy Monet.
I'm trying to remember if I picked this horse or if I picked and bet this horse.
I don't know if you picked him. I was off, but I remember looking at the picks. You might have picked him. He made a move like he was going to run.
This was Breeders' Crown Day. Ooh. This was Breeders' Crown Day.
I was in the train. I watched this race in the train. I bet a couple dollars on Candy Monet.
I can't remember if I picked this horse. Saying to myself, coming in off the open company form, I don't remember. I know I used this horse in pick 4 or something, pick 5, and I just remember saying to myself, the horse was 7 to 1, and the horse did not run 2 steps.
Well, and that's the other thing. Didn't you expect the horse to be around
2 to 1,
7 to 2, and
yeah, 3 to 1. I'm trying to remember the race.
Okay, so what did you? Phenomenal Woman.
Well, so last time.
Last time what?
I was Andy. This horse broke and just spun her wheels.
Yeah, but she ran in the same kind of track 2 back, and
it was not as bad as last time, but it was not good.
I'm not buying it.
I'm just hoping that she gets back to the fast track when she was claimed off of.
I'm not buying it.
And that's it. I don't know. I mean, you kind of went off the reservation a little bit, but I can't even knock that because who is scaring you in here?
You can't knock any selection.
No.
I can't.
You can say that for like,
I'm not taking really psyched on top of horses at a million chances.
Absolutely not.
A Phenomenal Woman, I get it, but I think it's more in the wet track last time. This horse was brutal. Brutal. Listen, I've got the Bob Caceres first-time starter. 2 of the foals in the dam ran the 70s. 4 of them couldn't outrun you and I. Miss Flintshire. Okay, here's my case for Miss Flintshire. At least she's in an entry where they're not going to bet the other horse. So I don't have to worry about that particularly.
Yes.
First time out, they tried this horse sprinting on the turf. The thing about the horse is that it's a Flintshire, so of course they're going to run on the turf. The dam's got some turf, but the dam is the dam of Scacciatore, who's a dirt sprinter who could sprint in the turf. And this horse didn't run well, but didn't run well, but didn't run.
And the first race the first race didn't run
so badly it wouldn't say the horse doesn't have a chance here.
Not at all.
And then the second time, the horse is going 1 1/8. It's not a router. It's not a route pedigree from the dam side. And was 4 wide around the racetrack. That was a very strong rail that day. At 1 1/8, completely out of the horse's wheelhouse. And I'll tell you something.
Well, those back in 11 days.
I'm going to tell you something. There you go, 11 days. Flintshire. I don't know if he's a dirt sire, but I do actually know something. He's not a turf sire.
We've seen a couple of them.
We've seen a couple of them run the dirt. Do I like it?
I don't like the horse, but I'm not. I mean,
am I betting a lot of money? No, but I'm going to bet this horse. I'm going to bet a few dollars. Listen, I'm never going to pick.
This horse is going to pay $22. Nobody's going to
pay $32. I'm not picking. I'm never going to pick horses in the show that are 6 to 1 or higher. I'm not betting my own money on.
Not picking Mondoose. You're not picking Mondoose. Like there's so many horses in here that it's just like you're not picking.
If you're picking Mondoose, you're strictly going on the hot barn. Barn's been live lately.
Yep.
This horse, wet track or not. I mean, it is first time on a dry track. Okay. He hasn't proven that he can't do that yet.
Right.
This is another race, and to me, the focus of this race is who am I betting against Sabrine with? Well, knowing he can win, I'm not going to surprise she can win, but I don't know, man.
You know, I thought was a little Torrance Tail, first time out. Improved first the second time, second off the layoff now. Had a little trouble last time. I don't know, but if that's
Source lost to Quintigua. I know that Quintigua is one of your favorite horses.
I get the call on Monday. I'm very excited about that.
You'll be saying, and moving into 4th. Practice saying moving into 4th.
If you just look, if you.
I'm not knocking anybody in here.
You know what I mean?
I'm not knocking anybody in this race.
She follows her form cycle from the first time to the second time, and
look who won. Look who won the last race on Sunday.
We had that conversation about the last place finisher ROI, $63.
Well, no, but that's another thing. That horse wouldn't have been my horse that can't win. I wouldn't
Right,
have
we
taken
thought because of
winners.
the
I
speed.
wouldn't.
We
I
talked
wouldn't
about
have
that,
taken
especially
the
on
winners.
especially the way the track was
Talking
kind
about
of playing.
a contest where everybody has to pick the horse they think is the least likely horse to win. Anyhow, we'll try to make lemonade out of lemons. I mean, it's not a card. I mean, these are the kind of cards. This is not a Breeders' Cup card, in case you haven't noticed. But these are the kind of cards where I think there are opportunities
Sure.
to try to be clever. And I was joking about it with David Aragona last night, because I noticed he and I basically picked different horses in every race. And he said to me, I kind of went off the reservation a lot of races. I said, I did too. And you and I have completely different horses. I said, but if each of us is right one race,
The theme,
it'll work out.
The theme today would be to try to take advantage. This is the theme, but especially in a card like this,
bad
where
favorites
you
and
want to try
bad
and beat
races.
the bad favorites and bad races. Yes,
Weak
that's it.
favorites in vulnerable, weak fields are bad horses win bad races, and that's the reality of it.
These are the days you walk in, you think the pick five is going to pay $80, and it pays
I don't.
$8,000.
I don't.
I'm just saying, no. I'm just saying the way the morning line shapes up, and
I don't. The point is that don't be afraid to take a shot with a horse that nobody else likes.
Absolutely.
That you have some reason for liking,
These
because
are the
your horse
perfect
is
days
not
for
going to have
that.
to run a 78 buyer to win pretty much any race except for the 3rd and 7th. All right, head over to Naira Bets, NYRABETS. Use the promo code Keep Anthony Employed, and you'll get a cameo,
You'll get nothing.
a free visit, and a box of chocolates.
we've had 3
Use
requests for
bonus-
cameos. Please stop with that.
Use bonus 200. I know somebody who does cameos. Use the bonus 200. We will match for $200 of your initial deposit. What else do we have? Cross country Big
Too
Five.
busy this week.
2 Tampas. All these races will be on America's Day at the Races, which is on for a long time today. I hope you don't
We
get
will have a
interrupted.
ticket, by the way. We hit
Steve
it last
couldn't
week.
get that off fast
Hit it
enough.
last week for a $48 play. Got back $305. We got another ticket up
So
this week.
if you bet with Anthony last week, you got some free stuff. Got the stakes, Laurel, different stakes. Check out Naira Bets. Opt in for that. 50 or more in any race, you get a $5 bonus. 1 to 6:30. Anthony and Maggie carrying the load here for the first half. Greg and I in the second half, and the usual crew of others.
Mig joining
I'm
us.
assuming Mig is here, right?
joining us
I
as
haven't
well.
seen
Yeah.
him yet, but I assume he's here. All right. Been fun. We'll do it again tomorrow.
Yes.
Chris Griffin up next, the reprise, the scratches and changes.